Chapter 27. The Morning Stroll, Dawn, Astronomy, Timidity, the Flag of Truth, the King of Scalps we seek, a prayer for wives and mothers, the new Joshua, divorced from allopathy, the looms of time, the web of life, the old doctor, some questions answered, how curious is life, prophecy defined, thought touches the infinite. Through all the darksome night, I lay enchained by slumber's thrall, but with the first faint flushing of the dewy morn, I arose and wandered forth. All nature seemed to wait in hushed expectancy. With the iron hand of will, I barred the gates of memory, shut out the past with all its old ideas. My soul took on receptive attitude. My ear was turned to nature's rhythmic harmony. Afar o'er billows of the briny deep I saw faint shafts of light arise, enriching with rosy tint the pallor of the dawn. I saw the red disk of the sun peep forth, then spring, full-orbed and fiery from night's embrace, and kiss the world to waking beauty. My spirit was o'erwhelmed with the unmeasurable magnitude of the deific plan on which the universe is constructed. Standing on the border of the land where waves from fancy's sea break on the shores of fact, I saw with mental orb a beatious vision in the sky. With pen of truth dipped boldly in imagination's ruddy ink, I paint the picture as it came to me. High up in heaven's empyrean dome of blue, I saw great Sirius, central sun of stillness, reign and marshal all his starry host with skill. And as they wheeled and counter-wheeled in air, I saw among those myriad worlds a family circle all complete that seemed to dwell apart. This was the solar system with its fair members. Although this group doth dwell in isolation, the union between its members is so perfect that the slightest shock doth jar with harsh discord on each sister planet. The central figure of the group, Mother Sun, illumines space with her effulgent rays and lights the pathway of numerous children and grandchildren too. She is a matchless mother and guides her children well. Each one of them is polished to the highest point of perfection known to skill, born without flaw, obeys willingly, hears every call, performs every part assigned it in the grand plan which the mother has on constant exhibition. Small Mercury dwells close under her mother's side, as if she feared to wander away, lest she be lost in fields of space. She is arrayed in robes of vivid white, without a spot to mar her purity. Venus, fair star that decks the morning sky and lights the evening's dusky breast, is the most brilliant of all the daughters of the sun. She glows with conscious beauty and even dares to cast a shadow on the earth. She brings no child to gladden her mother's heart and helps increase the starry progeny. The eldest child of all, Mrs. Uranus, is guilty of no shortcoming. Although further removed, she is never from the watch care of the parental eye and brings the grandchildren in full view of the old grandmother every few hours, days, months, or years. Her family is well regulated and their movements always on time. I saw the gay, vivacious Mrs. Saturn with her many rings. She smiled on Jupiter, danced with Mercury, burnished the moon, and shed the light of her instruction on her many children. Bold-belted Jupiter, fiery Mars, far-distant Neptune, our own Earth, whose daughter moon doth wax and wane with silvery light, all these unfalteringly obeyed the slightest mandate of the Lady Sun, and followed with unfaltering footsteps the line of march she had laid out for them. I saw the face of the dear mother shrouded by a veil of impenetrable mourning, as if her heart were grieved by some erring action of one of her beatious family. But in an hour or two, as we count time, the dark shroud of seeming woe was lifted, and revealed her face, not shrunken or disfigured, but glowing with fresh brilliancy and with a sunny smile. She sent this message to me on a ray of light. I was not garbed in mourning. One of my children stepped between you and my face, as another one does between me and my fair granddaughter, lovely moon. All this I saw and more. I saw great stellar worlds give birth to other worlds. I saw those worlds live, grow, and die, and the offsprings thereof repeat in accordance with nature's law the same process of exhibition and retirement, just as the children of men pass through the various phases of physical life. I beheld these glorious denizens of upper air in brilliant brave attire advance, and to the refulgent music of the spheres dance rhythmically upon the floor of space. With reverential eyes I saw this part of a whole, whose beginning and end we know not, this branch of the universal life that throbs and pulses through every vein of nature and guides each atom on its way throughout the countless ages of eternity. This life is law, and osteopathy its latest clause, that teaches us its magnitude, and doth direct and guide creation's crowning work, the living man, unto his perfect right, unchanging health. Timidity takes possession of us only when we are at a loss to judge of the end from the beginning. For instance, we are timid about going under the influence of chloroform because we do not know whether we will perish or survive its use. The same timidity comes over us in the use of drugs. In osteopathic treatment, we have no timidity. And as osteopathy strengthens us in all cases, in no instance has death ever occurred as the result of the treatment, though thousands have received benefit at the hands of skilled graduates of our school. For 25 years, legal recognition has been withheld from us, yet our flag for truth has ever given music to the breezes. Strong mortars have thrown shells of great size, loaded with that which has done deadly execution and taken down the flags of all opposition until 1874, when little osteopathy planted a single gun in open field in the powerful state of Missouri. Shells have fallen all around that flag for 22 years, and on review at roll call not a thread is found to be torn or missing. Each thread is stronger and calls legions to its defense. Anthems are sung to its praise. Its victories multiply and come in quick succession. The brainy are among its captives. It never records a victory if it had not conquered a general of renown. The scalps of fools and children are never counted, as we do not wish to be tried for infanticide. It must not be the scalp of a bald-headed general. We want no toy ladies' man's scalp. It must be a rooster with full comb and spurs, or we will never exhibit him as a trophy. This is a war not for conquest, popularity, or power. It is an aggressive campaign for love, truth, and humanity. We love every man, woman, and child of our race so much that we have enlisted and placed our lives in front of the enemy for their good and the good of all coming generations, and asked the Lord, who stayed the knife that was in the hands of Abraham of old for the destruction of his own son, to please aid and assist by all honorable means to stop the useless butchery of our mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters, to teach our people better sense than to use any drug which would cause gallstones, bladder stones, diseased livers, heart and lungs, fibroid tumors, piles, appendicitis, or any other disease or habit which may be traced directly to the unphilosophical use of drugs, which are given by one and produce tumefaction of any or all parts of the body, leaving the patient in such a condition that there is no relief short of the deadly knife or the next experimenter. This war has raged hot and heavy for nearly a quarter of a century. Its position as a witness has been before the judge of love, truth, justice, and humanity. Since October 1874, my pen has been silent as to reports of how the child osteopathy has been treated. When I opened the cage in which I kept the boy that I believed in time would be the greatest warrior who had ever appeared in the world's stage of reason, many stayed long enough to see that child was a boy. Red-headed, had a Roman nose, a good-sized neck, an eagle's eye, talons, and wings of great length, which, they said, meant to fly very high, if necessary, and the eye meant to select the choicest gems at will, and the claws said in the best of language that to penetrate deeply was the rule of reason and wholly indispensable. After a careful investigation, all said, that child has the build of a gritty and sensible warrior. Others asked, "Why do you want to fight in time of peace?" I told the multitude that in days of peace was the time to prepare for war. I began to train my boy for the Olympic Games of all future days. For years I kept him in close training to be a skilled fencer, for I know much hard fighting would have to be done as soon as the boy kicked old theories which could boast of no merit save age and tradition. I knew my Joshua would soon command such suns and moons to stand and make them obey to the letter. Some said, but in a low whisper, that young one was an illegitimate child. Its father could not be found, and it would at all times be known as a bastard. Further than that, no illegitimate could be allowed to run at large in Missouri.